Hi guys. This is the audio for should mountain bikes be allowed in wilderness areas, and mountain bikes and wilderness don't mix. And I'm going to read the passage and the questions this time. Last time I didn't. It was confusing. Just follow along with me in your paper. Pause it when you need to. Taking a Coke, sorry. Pause it when you need to answer the questions. Take your time. Passage 1. More than 100 million acres of America's most rugged landscapes designated as wilderness are off limits to mountain bikers. But two senators want to change that. They have introduced a new bill. It would allow bikers to join hikers and horseback riders in those scenic, undisturbed areas. The bill comes from U.S. Senators Mike Lee and Orrin Hatch. Lee says he's a former mountain biker. The senator said his bill takes on what he sees as an overreaching federal regulation. He believes that it confines locals. Lee says there's no evidence that mountain bike tires cause any more erosion than hikers do. At issue is a part of the Wilderness Act. It restricts the use of mechanical transport that refers to bikes, all-terrain vehicles, and cars. The ban on mechanical transport doesn't include wheelchairs. Those are allowed as part of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lee notes that skis, rock climbing gear, and kayaks, which are also allowed, arguably involve some type of mechanical action. They help people move about. Mountain biking wasn't a popular sport when the law was passed. That was in 1964. But conservationists say allowing the bicycles will alter the character of those spaces, and they say the bikes are tough on trails. That is according to Alan Rosen. He is with the Wilderness Society. It is a conservation group. Rosen said that only about 10 to 12% of all U.S. public lands are protected under the Wilderness Act. He called it one of the bedrock environmental laws we have in this country. He sets aside some areas as untouchable. If mountain bikers could start riding those trails, they would be in seventh heaven, said Ted Stroll. He is president of the Sustainable Trails Coalition. It is a nonprofit. The coalition is working to overturn the ban. Some mountain bikers don't want to upset long-standing political alliances with conservation groups. The mountain bikers say bikers should instead focus on working with interest groups and lawmakers to negotiate. The mountain bikers prefer to move the boundaries of wilderness areas to allow bikes on trails. Wilderness is the first time we are, as a species, decided to put the needs of nature above the needs of man, said Ashley Kornblatt. She is the owner of a bicycling tour company. We don't need to ride our bikes everywhere. And then you have your glossary there. It says designated, chosen for a special purpose, overreaching, going too far. Regulation, rule made by an authority. Bedrock, the idea on which a rule is based. Political alliances, agreements between two groups to work together towards similar goals. Passage 2, Mountain Bikes and Wilderness Don't Mix by Howie Wolk. My first Wolverine sighting in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem happened on a warm July afternoon in 2012. In 21st century America, wolverines veer towards the endangered species list. Wolverines need wilderness to survive. That's one reason that conservationists for the 4 decades have promoted wilderness designation for the Dunur. Let's be frank. Backcountry biking damages the land. Bikers often veer off trails just to keep from crashing. Because mountain bikers ride fast, they startle wildlife more than hikers or horseback riders do. Speeding mountain bikers also endanger horsepackers and hikers on steep trails. Let's face it, mountain bikers need all that protective gear because they're not always in control. Generally speaking, the place for mountain bikes is on roads, not in relatively pristine backcountry. At this point in our history, I believe that public land management should be about preserving wilderness and doing what's best for the land and wildlife. Recreation can adapt, though some, certainly not all, mountain bikers apparently view our public lands as an outdoor gym. That is not their function. Glossary, you have Wolverine, an animal with shaggy fur that looks like a small bear. No, not the superhero. The Denora, an area of Wyoming known for scenic views and wildlife. Pristine, pure, and undamaged. Public land management, care and control of land that is owned by the public. And it says read these. Now we're on question 1. It says read this sentence from passage 1. Lee says there's no evidence that mountain bike tires cause any more erosion than hikers do. What is the meaning of erosion as it's used in paragraph 3 of passage 1? Your choices are A, drought, B, harm, C, pebbles, or D, waste. Pause it if you need to. Number 2 has 2 parts, part A, part B. Part A, select 2 main ideas from passage 1. A, more people are interested in mountain biking. B, people can ride mountain bikes in limited places. C, bans on mountain bikes in wilderness areas should be reconsidered. D, mountain bikes provide people with easier access into hard-to-reach areas of the wilderness. E, solutions related to mountain biking in wilderness areas can be found if people work together. Part B, select 2 details that support the answer in Part A. Your choices are A, it would allow bikers to join hikers and horseback riders in those scenic, undisturbed areas. B, they help people move about. C, he is with the Wilderness Society. D, Rossum says that only about 10 to 12% of all U.S. public lands are protected under the Wilderness Act. E, the mountain bikers say bikers should instead focus on working with interest groups and lawmakers to negotiate. Number 3 also has 2 parts. Part A, which idea could be supported by both passages? A, protecting the land should be the primary concern of the government. B, mountain bikers are concerned that changing the law might be too difficult. C, mountain bikers have access to other places where their bikes are less harmful to the land. D, opening wilderness areas to mountain biking would lead to other mechanical devices being allowed on trails. Part B, select 2 sentences, 1 from each passage. There's a key there that helps you. 1 from each passage. So you know that one of your answers is going to be A, B, or C. And your second answer is going to be D, E, F, because you have to have 2 answers, 1 from each passage. So select 2 sentences, 1 from each passage that supports the answer in part A. So A, they have introduced a new bill. B, the conservationists say allowing the bicycles will alter the character of those spaces. C, we don't need to ride our bikes everywhere. D, because mountain bikers ride fast, they startle wildlife more than hikers or horseback riders do. E, let's face it, mountain bikers need all that protective gear because they're not always in control. F, generally speaking, the place for mountain bikes is on roads, not in relatively pristine backcountry. Number 4, how does the author of passage 2 make a connection between his Wolverine sightings and the issue of allowing mountain bikes on trails? A, he explains that wildlife can frighten mountain bikers easily and cause accidents. B, he suggests that mountain bikers damage the wilderness some species need to survive. C, he suggests that it is necessary to keep people away from animals in their natural habitats. Or D, He explains that mountain bikers often go off trail and this can cause wildlife to leave the area. Number 5, what does the word veer mean as it's used in paragraph 13? A, explore, B, park, C, reach, or D, turn. Number 6, it says in the answer document, but just write it on the paper. Select 2 sentences that compare the perspectives presented in the passage. The choices are A, the passages present differing views on how mountain bikes impact trails. B, the passages present similar views on the purpose for visiting wilderness trails. C, the passages present similar views on the importance of protecting the wilderness. D, the passages present similar views on the safety risks presented by mountain bikes on trails. E, the passages present differing views on how desirable the trails would be for mountain bikers. You choose 2. Number 7 is the last question. How is the structure of passage 1 different from the structure of passage 2? A, passage 1 presents differing opinions about a proposed bill, while passage 2 outlines the negative effects of backcountry biking. B, passage 1 describes the effects a proposed bill could have on bikers, while passage C compares and contrasts the effects bikes have on wildlife. C, passage 1 introduces a problem with a bill and gives a solution, while passage 2 introduces a problem and then gives several possible reasons for it. D, passage 1 outlines the steps needed to pass a bill to allow mountain bikes in wilderness areas, while passage 2 explains the impact of mountain bikes on the land. And then we're going to be doing the writing prompt together. I'll go ahead and read the question, but we're going to do the writing prompt together in class. So the writing prompt, so you don't have to do this by yourself. That's something we're going to do together in writing workshop. Should the use of mountain bikes be allowed in wilderness areas? In your own opinion, write a multi-paragraph response that explains whether the use of mountain bikes should or should not be allowed in wilderness areas. Include evidence from the passage to support your opinion. Make sure you're using information from both passages in your response. And again, we'll be doing that together. Okay, done.